So I think the last thing I'm going to do is, before I render this out, is I'll change the background color. So again, I can do that in Windows, Settings, Color Settings. I'll change my background. Let's do kind of a sky blue. And I want to hide everything that I don't want to render, so I'll go to my Show menu here. I'll select None, and I'll click it again, and I only want to show polygons. I'll turn off my grid, and you'll see it's also hidden my outlines. So I want those to show up. So I'm going to turn on strokes here. That's the option. All right, so just double check that your anti-aliasing is turned on so that you get those nice edges. I'm also going to turn on this motion blur here so that as it moves we get some motion blur. But you know, that's actually not looking so great with the 2D effect, so I'm going to turn that off. We can always apply motion blur after we render this. I'm going to move my camera down a little bit just so he passes right by. I'm going to turn on my resolution gate so I can see the exact framing here. And there's several things we can do to add smoke here. We can do kind of a simulation in Maya, but that's another lesson. You can also add these fire effects in 2D in post if you want. Okay, I am nearly happy with my camera placement. Cool, I like that. So I only need until frame 55 here. So I'm going to end my timeline at 55. I can type that right here. And I'm happy with this, so I'm going to render it out. All right, maybe I'll animate the dog. So he'll be facing the window at this frame, so I'll hit S to set a keyframe. And then when he's back here, he'll be flipped around again. So he's facing this way. And I'll hit S again. Cool. All right, I'm ready to play blast this out. So right click and hold, play blast options. Check over all your settings, set it to play blast out to the right file location. I'll make a folder for this, play blast version 1. I'll copy that file path, and here's where I'll save it. I'll call it rocketdoge.png. And I'll play blast that out. And you'll see since I have my resolution gate enabled here, it's going to include this gray box around the edges. So if you don't want to include that, you can turn that off just before you play blast. So I'll actually hit escape to cancel the play blast. Close out of the F check. And you can turn off just the gray outline here, but it still leaves the frame. And this will be easier to see like this. So you'll see when I disable the resolution gate, it zooms in, and that's because the resolution gate is filling our viewport here. But it'll still render this same resolution, this same framing here, even if we have this turned off. So we'll start our play blast, and now it won't include those gray edges. It'll just be that box that we were looking at. So last time we brought our image sequence into Media Encoder to turn it into an MP4, but this time we'll bring it into After Effects, which just gives us a lot more options. But it works just like Media Encoder. So let's double click in our project panel here. We'll paste in our file path, select our image sequence, make sure PNG sequence is ticked, import that, and now we drag this image sequence down onto the new composition button. And when we play that by hitting spacebar, it's going to load all the frames, and you'll see it turns green here. And once everything turns green, it'll play back at real speed, and we can finally watch. Whoa, he really zips around. That's great. So you can do more compositing here. This is the post I was talking about where you can add anything else. So I'll just show you a couple cool things. I want to add a background to this. I forgot to change it to JPEG so that it would include the blue background we made. So I can make that in After Effects. I'll just do Control Y to create a solid. I can pick the color of my solid. And I want that layer to be underneath my image sequence. And just because I'm here, I'm going to do a couple other things. Okay, I may have gotten a little carried away. You don't have to go this hard, but I did. So yeah, put in whatever background, whatever animation you want. I'd just love to see you guys do the rocket, the Doge, and a little bit of animation. Last, I'm going to show you guys how to export out of After Effects. We'll go to File, Export, Add to Media Encoder Queue. This will send your composition into Media Encoder, which is what we used last time to create our image sequence, or to turn our image sequence into an H.264. So select that option, high bitrate, and select where you want to put your file. Please put your name on it and the version number if you make another version. Hit this green play, and that's all.